feel better. So Dr. Barnfield, do you have some information for us on pre-K-12 education best practice?
Yes, I actually shared this with the board, probably a month ago, through via email. And Ms. Drake asked me to, speak on it. Do you have any specific questions or just want me to do it overall? Okay. So, this report was, put together by the Florida legislature, the Office of Economic and Demographic Research. And basically, it was a graph, and if you remember the email, you can't see you all, I'm glad, so this is what it looked like. It looked like a bunch of data, a bunch of graphs. It looked very, some of the graphs were, I didn't even understand what the graphs were, didn't even understand what any of them meant, because they speak in the language that I don't think, educators are accustomed to, because they're doing stuff financially, they're doing more, for the demographics. I will say, I called their office in Tallahassee and spoke with, a very nice young lady who went through each graph with me. These graphs were forecasted in their entirety, so basically, they go back as far as 24, 25, they compare us they go as far back as 2019, 2020. And they look at the population estimates since the 1920 year. So basically, and I will summarize because I will not go, it would take too long to go through each graph with you. But basically what I can tell you is that the birth rate, to begin with, the school age population is trending downward, but so is the birth rate. So less families are having children, so therefore you don't have as many students entering into kindergarten. When it spoke about school choice data, I would say about 75% of our local FTE is coming into Glades County, about 25% goes to Hendry County. And where that would be students that maybe their parents work in Hendry County, so they go to school in Hendry County. Or we lose students that live out, in Muse and they want to go to school in LaBelle and that's a closer bus ride, or for whatever reason. But then when you look at Hendry County's data, which I also pulled their data, they have about 50%, so we're gaining more than we are losing.
You're losing 50% to us?
Not, it doesn't say to us, but they're losing 50% going somewhere. So when you look at their pie graph, there's a 50%, they have 50% of theirs are not in county. We only have about 25%. So I don't know, because it doesn't say Hendry County, but when I called, I asked her where ours were, and she said Hendry County. Then, when you go to your school age population and enrollment, because we're a smaller county, it's trending stable. So it doesn't look like, there's like a huge decrease or a huge increase. It's just, with us being a smaller county, one or two students can make a huge difference, where like a Miami-Dade county, it wouldn't matter. The non-public school enrollment, if you have greater than 10 schools, that's where that graph would be in, and we don't have 10 schools. The commuting patterns is commuting, migration, and demographics. So this is kind of where I was a little confused, because I was like, well, what is that? How is that different than the FTE? This was put together for like your EDCs and your Chamber of Commerce's and your business community to see, if someone wanted to come in and build a building development or a housing development, this would be a great piece of information for them, not necessarily for a school. I met with someone yesterday and I said, the number one thing that when a business or a developer goes to purchase land or to decide where to put a housing development, the number one thing they ask for is the school information. What is your school grade? You know, how many kids do you service? What special programs do you have? So, when I received this back when I sent it to you all, I was kind of looking at this like, and I don't mean this anything negative toward the county because I'm not, but Lakes County's got a really good thing going with the school district. Because we're a really good, we are an A school district and that's what people want when they come into a county. And, the data proves that. When you look at, FTE funding for K-12 grade level school setting data, through the 24-25 FTE, every year it's gone down. And that just goes into, there's a little tiny print at the bottom that says FTE in this chart excludes charter, virtual, or scholarship enrollment. So the funding that the public school gets is considerably going down, and we all know that. Public high school data, the dual enrollment. Our dual enrollment numbers dropped by about 5 kids last year, and that's because, and I think I shared this with you all before, the requirements to get into our collegiate program or to get into a dual enrollment program have changed. They have upped the score, and so, less students qualify. So, I know I've said this, we do really good with our really high kids and our really low kids, but it's those kids that are right there in the middle that we need to figure out how to either, to boost them. And so, this data just proves that. And then standard high school diplomas, ours since 2020 has risen considerably. Every year, 2021 we were about 55. We went down slightly in 2021 to about 50. And then in 22-23, we went down to about 45, but since then, we've gone up considerably up to 80. So,
Was that graduation rate?
if we took the regular high school diploma.
Oh.
And our graduation rate we're at an 89.9%, which once again, we're the highest in the consortium, and out of the small school districts, we're in the top. I'm not sure exactly where, but our graduation rate since 2020 has gone up considerably. So, like I said, this really is not an educational base. It's not meant to be used on an educational setting, but it's got good information. So I just wanted to share with you because I sent that out and there wasn't a lot of, there wasn't a lot of questions from the board, so I didn't know if it was kind of like if you were like me and you were like, what is this? Or, and then when you asked, like, how do you like it?
So you went over that with the EDC though, you said, you
Yes,
gave them a presentation on that
Yes, ma'am.
information.
At the last meeting.
So, Madam Chair, may I make a comment?
Absolutely.
Thank you. The thing that jumps out to me out of that data was that 25% of our student population is going to another county. I mean, I like what you said following that we're getting theirs too, but that needs to be a focus for us, I would think, to figure out who we're losing, why we're losing. We know we're losing high school kids at at West Glades. But that's an area where I feel like, as a board, we need to look at how do we get those kids back. And we've been talking about that for 20 years. So, that's jumped out at me.
We also lose Buckhead Ridge kids to Okeechobee.
But that's huge, 25%. That's a lot.
And what percent do we pick up? Because I'd like to know what our net loss is.
So, it's a pie graph and there's no numbers on it. So I say 25%, I don't know.
It's really
Better
less
call
than
that person.
25% would be
Okay, so it's probably about
18,
15.
Okay, that's good.
I mean, there's no number, so it's kind of hard to gauge that.
Now, is that including the agape,
No, this is just this is just the FTE, where local FTE are enrolled. But you know, I didn't think about Buckhead, that is also some of ours.
But how
But I will say, we have had a lot more Buckhead students come, I know Mr. Thomas is, we've got a lot of families that have decided that they're coming to us instead of one day Okeechobee, a lot.
I do know when the scholarship organization tries to give a scholarship just for a Buckeye Ridge student, and they have trouble with Buckeye Ridge, so it's not making seniors from there.
Any other comments or questions for Dr. Barfield? Okay, thank you very much for that information.
And I apologize that that's not my realm, and some of these, this is more of an EDC, document, that's something that the EDC would probably be more interested in, because it talks about, you know, not students, but, you know, how our community is trending as far as new residents. The other thing that I attached was, since 1970, did I send this to you all? From 1970, how many people okay, I can send this to you. This is a total county population, and it begins on April the 1st, 1970. So in 1970, Glades County had 3,669 residents.
How many?
3,669.
Wow,
We have now.
And now we have,
12,000.
no, over 12, we have 7,000 children.
4,000, I'm just kidding. Now we have 12,897.
I keep up with that.
And then the prediction, and this is what I shared with the EDC, because I felt like this was important for them to understand. The prediction for 2050 is that we're only gonna be at 13,837.
At 2050, did you say?
2050, they're saying we'll only be at 13,837.
When was that prediction made? I predict they're definitely wrong. Because,
Well, this was, okay, this was
because
based
north
on
of
results of the
Highway
Florida
80 is
Demographic
growing.
Estimating Conference, June 25, and University of Florida, Florida Population Services, volume 58, bulletin 201. So if you like, look it up, Mr. Lynn.
Well, I will say that from 2020 to 2024, 400 homes were added north of Highway 80 in the Port Bell area. That's a fact that I checked. That happens to be my district. And it's people coming in from southeast Florida, and it continues to grow. So I think that we're gonna be adding 200 more families, a minimum, every year. And I think it's gonna jump.
Well, we just had a request, someone is going to be putting in 900 homes out next to JJ Wiggins, a contractor that just sent us a letter. So there's those
99.
99, what did I say? 999, sorry, 99 homes. We're gonna be a metropolitan area in a year.
It's like 99 homes should be between 80 and 150 kids,
Correct.
depending on the size of the families.
And then we also have our community that's building up in Buckhead Bridge that will bring those numbers up. I don't know what they use this for, but when I look at like Hendry County, in 1970, they had 11,859, and they are predicted, well, now they're saying that they have 46,087, and Hendry County is predicted to have 56,000.
There's gonna be a community at the end of our road.
What?
Yes, Marshallfield Road is going to be by the brothers that built the villages. Yep, they own that, and they're gonna be building, and so I know that is generally towards the people who are retired, but that's not who their designated audience is. So that's gonna have hundreds of houses, and then you've gotta remember, and I know about this from when I was a principal of West Glades. Remember, we had the crash of 2008. Prior to that, Likes Brothers was going to put a development out there. And that's one of the reasons they gave the 200 acres for the school, because they wanted a nice school, and secondly, they wanted a nice buffer. Okay, well, if anybody's been driving around Glades County, and Likes owns about 65%, you can see that they're doing stuff. They're putting in new fences, they're putting in new roads. Nobody's told me this is just what I see. So I think that project, of course, was put on hold because the economy fell in 2008. But I think that they're getting ready to start something over there within a couple hundred yards of West Glades. And then the Bexley brothers are going at the end of Marshfield Road. And the Southeast Floridians are moving into north of Highway 80 at LaBelle, which is all Glades County. That's much more than 2,000 or 3,000. I'm not saying
Where's that place?
Bexley Brothers at the end of Marshallfield Road.
The third one.
The third one is north of Highway 80. Where you know where Cowboy Way is on South of 80? As you cross over, it becomes Cowgirl Way, and it's all Glades County.
There's something going in there too.
What I'm saying about that one is that one's continuing to grow. Because according to our supervisor of elections, we've added 400 homes there in 4 years and 700 voters. And that is where I think we need to be looking for a preschool, or not a preschool, but maybe a K-2 or another elementary. We just need to see what's feasible, because that is growing very, very fast. And if we establish it, it will support itself. It's not like we'd be building something that would hurt us. But anyway, I say that publicly because people don't see where the growth is coming from. And there have been things in the past that have been waylaid, and now they don't seem to be waylaid. They seem to be coming back on. Thank you, Madam Chairperson.
Any more comments? Okay, moving on to item 5.1, public comment on agenda items. We have none, so we'll move to the consent agenda. Does anyone have any items that they want to pull from the consent agenda?
Look good.
Seeing none, I will entertain a motion.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Clement, second by Mr. Lucky. All in favor?
Aye.
On the action agenda, item 7.1, we are being asked to approve amendment 1 between Everdriven for the provision of alternative transportation solutions for an ESE student. I'll entertain a motion to approve. Second,
I'll second, but I do have a question.
motion by Ms. Clement, second by Mrs. Drake. I'll open for discussion. Questions or discussion?
Okay, were we sent something to look at where we could compare last year to this year? Was that sent in a text or an email? Okay. So I have not had time to look at that. Do you know, anybody off the top of your head, the difference in the cost from last year and this year? I can look at that real quick if nobody knows. I was just curious. You have it? Was it an increase?
It was, actually the trip fee came down $1.20. It includes the first 12 miles, and then per mile fee, was for 24-25 was $2.58, and it's gone down, or it is gone up, I'm sorry, $2.66. So it went up about, the wheelchair fee was $45, it's gone up to $46.35. Car seat safety vest fee is $5, it went up 15 cents for $5.15. The wait time fee per hour is billed in 15-minute increments, was $60, now it's $61.80. The monitoring fee per hour with a 2-hour minimum is $35 an hour, and it's gone up $36.05. And then no show or late or cancel, they charge for the full price of the trip, so if the student isn't there or is late, they charge anyway, and that has not changed. So it's gone up slightly.
It's gone up.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out how much, just out of curiosity.
Well, you can't, I mean, some of those fees are only added if there is a necessity for them, like if they're a late fee. I mean, we can figure out the trip fee. The trip fee, for the first 12 miles went up $1.20, and then per mile it went up 8 cents a mile. So I guess you can figure that out, but
It's weird numbers, so I'm thinking it's a percentage somehow. I mean, they're not just randomly gonna increase it 8 cents a mile, there's some kind of percentage calculation.
If I did the math right, it went up $5.63, the fee schedule itself, which is not a lot.
Madam Chair, I thought previous meetings we had discussion and voted on so that we, before this came about, that there would be a different direction. Woodley.
the parent choice voting.
Okay, so that's no longer on the,
So we need to do this. This is,
So this is to transport one of our students to Henry County, correct?
Now, this student is being transported to,
The one,
West Palm.
the special.
West Palm
Okay.
Beach, this
The
is the
school that
one
we
that
don't
goes
have.
to West
Right,
Palm.
gotcha. All right, I don't have any other questions.
Are you okay with your comment, Ms. Clement? All right, any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Approved. Motion carries. And I think I got an email that the elevator was full,
Yes, ma'am.
so we're not going to act on the approval of the elevator company. We've already done 8.1 general public comments. Our superintendent has requested that she be allowed to give her report after our board member comments and reports. So, we'll go on to item 10.1, board member comments and business. And I'll switch up a little bit, we'll start with Mr. Lucky this time.
I don't have anything.
Okay, Ms. Clement?
I first want to start and say, Dr. Barfield, thank you so much for these books. This is also a little bit of history for our elementary school that was being taken away. Our Glades County history was curriculum, or I don't know if they used it as a curriculum set, but it was
Supplement.
yes, in the elementary school, and all board members were presented a copy. So thank you so much for that. We appreciate it.
You'll get your bill in 30 days.
Oh, no.
Cash.
Picture of
Cash.
this.
Well, one of my questions was about the auction at the elementary school, and you did place on that. Ms. Carla, I see your hand is still recovering. I do want the public to know about this auction, you know, how it was handled. Can you just touch real quick again, just to clarify any confusion that the public may have?
Are you talking about the auction?
The auction and the cash funds.
Last week.
So we didn't have any auction, the auction for you mean the closed bids?
Yes.
We had no closed bids that came in.
Okay.
So we had an offer of the buildings and, so we went, but there was no bids submitted.
And all of those, all the cash received, will that go into the general fund, or? The public just wants to know, what is this cash being used for, how is it being put into the accounts?
I mean, it will be deposited in the bank account. I have not discussed with Dr. Barfield if it's going to be used for any particular item. I know that we are supplementing our general fund, so that will be, I guess, at the discretion of the superintendent.
My thought was that it may be going into the general fund, but I didn't want to make assumptions and just have it out there and ask the question. there's been lots of stuff moved, and that's, so I'm thankful that it's not going to landfills, and that some of our other schools and entities around us are able to use those items and keep that history alive. There was a comment made earlier about our computer systems and the technology that we have. I've looked into some of what Lee County is doing, and the superintendent and their school board has so much information that they're doing and working on. It's encouraging to see what they're doing. One of the things is, if we could look into the possibility of doing maybe a one-day no technology type situation where it would give our IT department time to work on those computers, the teachers to have those items in an area so that that one day, we're seeing kids that can't even do a three-point stand at football because their hand structures aren't strong enough. We're seeing handwriting going down from, my kid, I can't even read his handwriting, but it's because they're on computers and not doing that. I see in legislature, they brought back that they're gonna have to be required to do, cursive handwriting. So I'm excited about seeing that, but if there is any way that we can somehow look into minimizing some of the demand for them to be on the computers, giving our IT people a little bit of time to address those situations without having background noise possibly. It's just something I wanna bring out forward and, not make more confusion, but find ways to mitigate and help with these concerns that we have coming up. This weekend is our Ortona Cane Riding Festival in Ortona at the Larry Lucky,
Larry Lucky Ortona Calusa Mountain Park.
Calusa Mountain Park, yes. And following that will be the pageants. All of our students will be participating in the Challenger pageants. Youth, birth through fifth grade is in the small, starting at 2 o'clock, and the middle high school starts at 6 o'clock. So if you're in town and you want to participate and support our youth, come on out and see the kids in the Challenger pageant. Night on the Town will be February 13th at the city park. The next day is gonna be Art in the Park, and we have some amazing youth that have participated with their art talents. Come out and support them with that. I do have another question, and Mr. Thomas is gonna be directed for you. We've had a couple people addressing our bus issues, people passing. I know that the Sheriff's Department has done their part. We've had communications on the cameras. Do you know where we are and if that's something that we're still looking into for the cameras and ticketing system?
Yes, I'll address that. The the company that was looking at installing the cameras onto our buses has backed out. Their numbers that they were getting were just not high enough for their investment. So as a result, we are putting that particular project on pause until we can figure out a way to certainly a need that from our perspective, but from the company's perspective, it's not an investment that we're looking at.
And several community members, I don't know as a board member how to address this or work forward on getting more awareness out there for people driving on Highway 78, mostly from Buckhead is where most of these concerns are coming from. But what as a board can we do to bring more awareness and safety to our students on that route?
So just me. Today, there is a monthly meeting that we have with the state FDOT, and that is a conversation that's had almost every single time. The Sheriff's Department discusses it, we talk about their ability to respond, they up the, as much as they are able to, the traffic monitoring out there with the deputies. It's a matter of manpower, and, it's, so beyond that, I would say as much as we can, and perhaps even a social media blitz of some form to discuss it. From what the Sheriff's Department discusses, it is not local people. It is either commercial traffic or non-residential traffic. So I don't know how to reach those people, but it is certainly needed.
It would be nice if the Sheriff's Department had the manpower to more closely patrol that. I would love to see an unmarked car follow our buses for a day or here or there, just, okay, tomorrow, this unmarked car is gonna follow our bus that goes to Buckhead. And catch some of them and zap them with the highest fine allowed. It might, the word might get out. You're right, a lot of that traffic is non-local traffic. It's people traveling from the east coast to the west coast and vice versa.
The idea of following the buses is when we discussed, the consensus was we don't have enough to follow every bus, but I think we could kind of focus on that hotspot. We have 2 buses that go on that route and maybe possibly do that. I'll mention that.
Yeah, I mean, it's worth a shot.
Okay, and I'm not sure, is there any questions on that part? Okay, I'm not sure if this would be directed at you or who this question would go for, but there has been a lot of interest in our driver's ed program for our school, and I even found a teacher that would be interested, a couple of them that would be interested in making it happen. What do we need to do into looking for driver's ed? I know Ms. Drake has brought it up a couple times. Where do we start with looking into the future of bringing that to the school?
So I'll address that, or, okay?
Thanks.
So we have a driver's ed vehicle, so that's a check. The driver, there is a requirement that they have the certification, and it is a lot of, I don't know, but maybe one person on our campus already that has it. So for, I don't know, if you want to give me the names, just look up, I'm looking at Mike back here, I think only one. But if there's somebody that is interested, let me know and I can find out if they have on their certification. And if they don't, I can reach out to them and let them know what it takes to get certified to do that. Number 3, I guess the area for opportunity would be that it's really difficult to fit it into their schedules. Because of, right now, with when you're scheduling for a high school, it's very difficult, especially when you're a smaller high school, it's difficult because they have to make sure they have all their core classes and their electives and their graduation requirements. But on top of that, a lot of our kids do leave a certain time to go to iTech or if they're in the collegiate or if they're in our CTE programs, and those courses are set at a different location on the schedule. But if we had enough interest, we could do something possibly, in the summer or possibly on the weekends. I'm definitely an advocate for it. I want to do it, but it's really difficult to find the person that is certified, and then again, that's additional money that we're going to be spending to be paying for someone to come in on the weekends or whatever. So if you'll give me the names, I'll be glad to look them up.
So that was one of the things I was questioning, like the funding of how much that would cost us. I just want to bring it up for our future board meetings so that we can look into it. The certified person is definitely interested in making it a summer program, if that's capable, but trying to look into what's it gonna take, how much it's gonna cost, and what's the interest.
I think that when we get in our budget workshop, it's something we probably can talk about, because you're looking at either, I know we have slosh burger funds for that, so it might be something we could use out of that money. But if not, then we're gonna be looking at, hey, do we offer having a math teacher come in or a driver's ed teacher come in? So I think it's gonna be one of those situations where we just have to decide what's more important. But yeah, give me the names.
Can I add, this is your time, okay. One of the ways that I have seen it be successful, in a neighboring county, where at the time I was working along with teachers, is that especially if we let the students know, some kids are working in the summer and they think that taking off 6 weeks is gonna be enormous hindrance, if you set up a 6-week schedule. However, summer school driving happens to work in such a way that the kids go to sit and get class for 1 week solid or 2 weeks solid. And then for the rest of that 4 weeks or 5 weeks, the kids are scheduled in to come in and drive. So the kids, if you have a corporate history of that always having, then the students kind of know that. But if we haven't done that for years over here, students don't know that. So if the deal is getting enough students to want to do it, we need to let them know what the program would look like and in addition to, the other funding source. But I think that there's definitely a way that that could work if our only issue is getting enough students. Thank you.
And they changed the requirement, the legislature changed the requirement for getting that restricted or that general, driver's license, so, we need to check to see what that requirement is and to see if, it's something that we can work into our schedule. It would be better if we had a teacher, that they have to be at the high school, because it would have to go into their schedule. But then the problem is if that, say for example, let's say it's a history teacher, if they already have six sections of history, we're gonna have to remove one of those sections for them to be able to schedule that driver's ed. So, I mean, it's just a scheduling thing and also a certification thing. But I mean, I'm not saying I'm not for it, because I think it would be good. I myself, Mr. Hawthorne, I don't know, I think that's why he had gray hair, because he took three of us girls in the car, and he said drive, and off we went, and, I remember getting on 75 and trying to pass someone on the right side on right lane, but it was like an emergency lane, and he pushing that brake as hard as he could on me, and I mean, so I appreciate driver's ed, so I now know how to drive very well, thank you, Ms. Rowland. But,
That's questionable.
right, but if you'll, Kim, just give me the names, and I'll have, we'll look up your certification. Mr. Rainbach can do that and touch of a button. And then also I'll get with Mr. Thomas to see kind of, I know he's starting to formulate, him and the administrative team formulate the schedule for next year.
We also have the option to offer it online.
And it is offered online as well.
And the reason I'm sorry.
No, it'll take me a minute to remember. Go
Okay.
ahead.
The reason I kept bringing it up is because I thought we could make money offering it to our homeschool and private school kids. I think we came to an agreement, was it $500 a class? Was that our final agreement, what we were gonna charge?
I'll have to look back into it
Okay, I
because
believe it was
depending,
$500 a course,
it
so
depends on
if
if
we could
we,
get enough private school and homeschool kids that would sign up and take it, it could fund the teacher,
Right.
or partially, anyway. So that was my goal.
Another way that I've seen it done, I've only seen it for the general population in summers. I've not seen or heard driver's ed being in school for 30 years or more. But ESE students can have in their IEP, and then they can be pulled at different times. The thing is, you just have to have, it doesn't have to be an ESE teacher. You have somebody whose schedule allows that,
And then you're certified.
and that they're certified in that area. And in another county, there was one person that went to the 2 high schools and did that for about 10 years. But it was paid through ESE funds. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Okay, Ms. Clement, you have something else?
Of course. So, we always have Challenek at the same time every year. It is coming up. I've reached out to all the principals to see what their schedule is. You know, they always have dress-up days and they invite us out. I don't have those dates yet, but I'm sure they'll get us. I just wanna make sure they're thinking of it and not letting us know last minute, as sometimes has happened in the past and our schedules haven't allowed. So we'll make sure we have those days out. I want to push out to our community around that on Friday, March 6th is Kids Day. It is a free day. It starts out with the fishing tournament for the small fry. We will have free rides from 11 to 4, free lunch for all of our students, and free activities that SWAT is coming in to provide for the day. So however I can get that out there to make sure that our students know this is free for them to attend and they will be receiving a free lunch, to get that out there.
Free rides, good.
Free rides from 11 to 4, and the committee is paying, I mean, it's not free for us, we're paying for it, but we are paying for the students to be able to enjoy that. Pimienta does have school on that day, so it won't pertain to them. But our students, we want to make sure to get into schools, they know that they can come participate, that have free fun, free food, and then that night, that there's a $2 off coupon for everyone, but I want to get to our students that they can come to the rodeo and get a discount of $2 off. So however we can work on making sure that our students know that information, getting that out. Our Kids Day, I'm hoping is gonna be the best in a long time. I will also be reaching out to our principals and having, one-on-one meetings with them and their staff or their admin, just to have a feeling of what they're doing, what's going on throughout their year, what's their struggles, what's their, praises, and also I kind of want an evaluation on how they feel I'm doing as a board member, so that I can better support our communities and our schools. I'm putting that out there just so that everyone knows, and, I'm very thankful for everything of the positive that is happening. When that young man came to my office yesterday, to tell you that it brought chills to me and excitement, like there's so many things that people call you about and you're on the phone till midnight trying to find solutions or helping them. But when that student came in and he had a plan on what he was gonna say, how he was gonna say it, and why he was doing it. It wasn't just give me money. Most of the times it's give me money, give me money. But it was very awakening to me, and I'm so thankful that happened, because sometimes we just need those reminders why we're behind this dais and what we're really here for and fighting for. So, and then he came in and showed up in a suit today, and I was just like, oh, love this kid. So I'm just so thankful, those little reminders that these kids are what we're here for, and our decisions that we make behind here is what's best for them. That's all.
Thank you.
Yes,
Ms. Drake?
I just wanted to say about the use of the funds from the surplus sale. I do believe those are restricted by, statute, so that would be a question for Mr. McKinley. It's probably gonna have to go back to capital, I would think, but that, we can't just do whatever we wanna do with that, we have to follow statute. I wrote down impact fees to ask you, and I sent an email during the meeting to Mr. Carlisle and asked, did he have any update? And I was wondering, do you have any update? Have you
No,
heard
and
anything?
I called before our meeting this morning and, I asked Gabby to have the county manager call me to get, or text me to kind of know, because we've been asking.
Over, I've been asking over here.
And it sounds like, you know, our county is really fixing to flourish, and I would sure hate for the school district to lose out on that money, so.
Yeah, all these 3 housing
Yeah.
opportunities.
The metro, the 900 that's coming in, like I said, we're gonna have a McDonald's in 4-8. But, yes, absolutely. So, but I haven't received anything back, so
Okay, 'cause
as soon as I do, I'll email you all and,
Okay, I looked back at my notes and we began discussing this in March of 2023. So it's actually been almost 3 years that we have been asking for the impact fee study results and for a voice at the table regarding impact fees for Lake County. So
Should we, put in a formal written request letter that's signed by not only superintendent but the school board?
Brian and I actually went and spoke in front of the Wake County Commission back in 23 when this all, when we began, and we were told that they were looking into it. And
they had to
then
get funding for the study, they got that,
we got,
that takes forever, you know.
We just need an update on the status of the study.
Yeah,
That's
surely the study is done.
Surely it is.
so maybe if we attend the next Board of County Commission meeting as a group, I don't know if we're allowed to do that, but maybe that would show that, you know, the unity amongst the board and say, you know, we need an answer, I mean, we need more. And I'm sure they have it, they're just keeping it, you know, safeguarding it, but we have to make decisions, and I think every district, school district and county, board, we're all in this financial crunch. And so I think we're all, I know, you know, we met with the sheriff's department, those sort of things, everyone is looking for every cent they can get. And what a great windfall of money that would be for our school district if we could get that, so, I don't know, I can send another letter And, maybe we can draft one up and have each of you sign it, that basically is requesting that we know the outcome of the study, the 3-year-old study.
Okay. Let's see, I wanted to ask you, you may address this in your, presentation, so if you want to do that, that's fine, but I was wondering if you had an update on your appropriations request?
No, yes, I'm gonna present it when I do mine.
During your thing?
I'm sorry, I apologize.
Okay, no worries. I also wanted to ask if you have heard anything from Mr. McKinley about our ballot initiatives. Is he working on that language? And are we on the county commission agenda for that? Because that may be a good time we could address both of the issues that we're just now talking about. We can get their permission to put the ballot initiatives on, and then ask them again about the impact fees, so.
So I have not heard anything from Mr. McKinley
Okay.
about the ballot initiatives, and I, have not asked to be put on the county commission agenda, because I was waiting on the ballot initiative first, so I will follow up with him.
But we're in February.
Yes.
And Ms. Farnham, Ms. Farnham needs it, what month did she say, April?
April.
So we gotta get this
We
done.
only have 2 months.
So we gotta get this done, so if you could talk to Mr. McKinley
Yes, ma'am.
about the need for speed here. I wanted to also ask you if you had any update from Senator Franklin's office on our issue with them.
Addressing it, mine.
Okay, all right. And then I also wanted just to let the board know that, I have touched base with the collaboratory in Fort Myers about the pre-K. Then I was out of town, so I emailed her this morning, and I'll let Dawn know there that, I'm ready for you and I to meet with her and whoever in the district that would have all the numbers for pre-K. I'm sure she's gonna want that. And we'll be requesting the collaboratory's assistance in covering our shortfall for pre-K. And hopefully they can do that for this fiscal year, that would be my aim. To, update the board, Dr. Barfield and I met with the North Haven High School Scholarship Organization yesterday to answer any questions they might have about helping us with our funding issue for the collegiate. They seemed hesitant, to be honest with you, to make that change in their bylaws. It would require a change in their bylaws. So I kind of walked away from there feeling like that was not probably gonna happen, but I still have hope. But I feel much better about we did explain to them about what we learned from FSW, about how we can save money if we offer virtual electives, and it was a huge difference. I was reminded of it yesterday when I went over my notes with them, but the in-person course was about $7,000 a person, and the online was, what was it?
7,000 per class.
Was it?
Yes,
I don't
yeah,
remember
not
that.
per person, because 22 students made it
I got it right.
financially feasible. So the 7,000 is what they pay the professor, not counting all the benefits that
It's, you're right, it's $215.94 for a virtual course, is what I wrote down, versus $7K. So I wasn't specific in my notes about whether, but you remember that?
Yes.
So per student would be $215? Or would that
Yeah,
be?
that sounds about right. For the online,
Okay,
not in-person class, but online.
right, yeah, I wrote $215 for virtual versus $7K in person,
But the 7K is the cost of the whole class.
the whole group.
So it'd be a
20
huge
How many did you
cost
say?
if there's 6 or 8 kids. 20 or 22 was the break even.
And we have, if all of our kids took the same electives, juniors and seniors, we would have enough to make that. But, which is probably what they're doing now, because there's over 20 of them. So since they're being taught in person now, they probably take the same electives together. I'm pretty sure they do at Williston, but anyway, we told them about that, and they thought that was gonna solve our problem, so. I don't like virtual courses myself, and I hate to do that. But anyway, that's all I have.
But the way, after listening to Mr. Lucky, I'm not sure the virtual would be much of a savings.
Yeah, if it's $250 per student, and we have 20 students,
But it's a savings because most of the electives are not filled with 22 students.
Well, they are if they're in the
collegiate,
collegiate,
yes, yeah, because they would all take
they
it.
all take the same
Yeah.
elective.
Yeah, you're right, it's gonna be about the same, and I didn't explain that well to that committee. So, it's
So
not gonna
they
save
went
us
away
that much.
thinking the virtual was the easiest
Yeah,
one.
For kids.
No.
So it's only $7,000 to offer a course?
That's what they pay the professor. Now remember, in their presentation to us, they said, okay, here's the other things we pay for. Because we remember, one of the things that we wanted to know is, what are you giving us? We asked as nicely as we could.
Right.
So they are paying they're paying travel, and I think they're paying the retirement something. I'm not sure.
Lab materials,
Right.
oh no, we pay for lab materials, I'm sorry.
But a class costs, they're paying the professor $7,000. So if 5 students were gonna take a class, those 5 students need to take it online. Because then you're only paying the $280 or $290 times 5 instead of $7,000.
Yeah, but they have other things they charge us other than the professor's salary,
Right.
right?
I think so.
Anyway, whatever, we're gonna have to figure it out on our own, thanks.
So what was that per class, per student, right?
So faculty salary and benefits, they invoiced us $151,992.84. Faculty travel was $17,222.13. Lab materials was $2,640. Plus, on top of that, we had the $64,828.33 that was Ms. Moss's salary that we paid for. And then also we paid for the textbooks.
But they absorb that travel. That's what they told us there.
What do you mean absorb it, it's on our breakdown,
They said-
charges.
They said that, I know, okay, I don't know if they're telling the truth, but when we
Sure they
went,
are. Sure they are.
when we were at the meeting, they pointed to that, and then they said, but we're paying that. Does anybody else recall that?
I do remember them saying something like that, but I don't have that paper in front of me.
Neither. I remember numbers better than words sometimes.
Okay, well, we'll have to hash this all out when we set up the collegiate program for next year. For next school year is when we need to, in our budget
I
process,
thought
is when we need to work on that.
in this chart, they invoiced us $151,992.84. That covers the salary and benefits. But then these other things, the travel and the lab materials, they cover. They do not invoice us, they invoiced us
They put
for
it
the
there so
salary
we
and
could see it.
benefits, but they absorb the faculty travel and lab materials.
Is there
that was
somewhere it
my
says our
understanding.
invoice amount? I thought they did say.
Cause they were saying the microscopes and all, they do that, they do that in trouble.
Here's the page that says, total amount invoice was $151,942. It's a little different than what they show on the first sheet. It's like $50 difference, probably a typo. But, so you're right. So we pay $151,942. They absorb the travel, like Larry just said, and the lab materials, but then we pay textbooks. And they didn't show textbooks on here.
Right, we did.
So whatever our textbooks are, we need to add to the 151.
Right, because they invoice us this amount. The vendor who sells the textbooks
Right.
invoices us for the textbooks.
Right.
Madam Chair, Orpha, can you confirm what we paid, just so that we can compare our numbers to theirs?
What is the name of that vendor that it's on there, on that
That
invoice?
Florida Southwestern State College.
You don't have to do it right this moment, I just
On the
wanna make sure.
invoice, is that what it says? Southwestern?
Florida Southwestern.
College.
And this was for the 24-25 school year. They're saying that they invoiced us $151,942.84, correct?
Yes.
Let me add it, cause I think they sent it to us in two invoices.
Yeah, I think
it's
they
right.
Semesters, yeah.
And I do want to point out that is not including our on-site
Correct.
staff.
Correct, we pay, Ms. Moss out of our,
So,
So last year, we paid $152,208.78.
Okay, so it's.
what? You already got it?
She's fast, trust me.
Cause Tara and I had been talking regarding FSW,
Okay, what was the total? You blew the line there.
152,208.78.
So there's about $300 difference between that and this.
Well, and we paid, there's another invoice, let me look up, hold
Yeah,
on.
the textbook company, I don't.
Well, no, there was a $287 that we paid separately,
Oh,
um,
well, that would make it the
because remember they said they were going to try to go to all online, so that the textbook cost would be down.
OERs, Open Educational Resources. I learned that acronym that day.
I think all of us did.
We can get that from you later, or but we're gonna do a workshop this afternoon, so
Okay.
we'll get it then.
Yes, ma'am.
I don't want to put you on the spot.
It's okay.
Okay, are you finished?
Yes.
We're used to it.
Alright, we're ready, yes ma'am.
We have these on here, we're supposed to.
Okay, so we're gonna move on to, 9.1 superintendent's report.
Okay, all right, well, I've got quite a bit today, and, I'll start out, I wanna thank Ms. Drake for representing, the board, last night at the meeting. I think that it's really important that the message is out there, how, and I loved hearing the young man, so thank you, Ms. Clemens, for, inviting him. They need, the community, the county need to understand that the financial situation that we are in is because we made choices that was best for our students. And, it was actually, I left the meeting with kind of a feeling of that's not ever gonna go through, and you and I have spoke about that. But I was actually really glad that we were able to have that conversation, because I felt like some of the voices in that meeting could take what we said and then tell, well, did you know they're doing this? Did you know that they lost almost $1 million to scholarship recipients for homeschool and private school? So I was glad that that conversation is being had, and that it is being known that this board is about what's best for kids, and that really made a big impact for me. But I wanna thank you, because I know it's hard to go out in front of people and say, hey, we need some money, and then they're gonna say, well, what's the board doing, what's the school board, why do you have no money? And we have a very clear reasoning for why our fund balance is at 22%. But, so I just wanna thank you publicly for that. Okay, so I'm gonna start, I've got a stack here, but I promise I will be quick but thorough. So, with the appropriate, I'm gonna start appropriation. I'm gonna start with the IRS, and I'll give a little backstory, because we do have community members here, and I do wanna make sure they understand. About 3 months ago, I was in my office and the phone rang, and it was Debbie from First Bank. And she said, hey Beth, I just spoke with Thomas, and we're going to be levying your checking account $260,000. Well, my husband's name is Thomas, so the first thought was, oh my God, I had $260,000 in my checking account, and I didn't know it, what? But it was Thomas from First Bank. And, in 2019, our school district, did not check a box that the IRS required, and therefore they levied our account. It's not money that we owed. It's not money that, anything that we could have done. We didn't know about it, but they took about $260,000 out of our account. And, we have done everything that we possibly can. I have spent days on days on days. My staff is also, I mean, there's not a person in this room that I've not asked, would you call IRS? Would you? I cannot tell you the frustration that I have with the IRS. It is now in Congressman Scott Franklin's office. They sent Tommy, which is their legislative aide, to come down and meet with us. We presented him everything we've done, and a conversation, I want the board to hear this, a conversation was held at some part in our community, or in our county, I should say. Somebody was saying, oh, well, it's the IRS, it's that board, they don't know how to, do budgets, and that superintendent. And, Tommy was there out of Scott Franklin's office, and he stopped them and said, actually, that's not true. I saw what the school board has done, and they've done everything that we could have asked them to do. It was 2019, none of us were here. And so where we are with it is Scott Franklin's office is working as hard as they can. Lindsay, I can give you something fun to do, start calling IRS, and Scott Franklin's office, but, I think it's important that we stay on it because $260,000 is about a percentage for our fund balance. So we need to make sure that, we get that money.
Can you say that again, that last one?
That 200,000 would be a percent of our fund balance.
Okay, would equal about 1%?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
So, which is huge for us, and we need that money, and we don't have it, so that's the update on the IRS, and I just want it known that was not something that this staff, myself, and the majority of our school board member, I know, we had, Chris, you were on the board in 2019, but that's not even something, that, no, I don't want anyone thinking that it's Crystal's fault, it was done, but it was not uploaded, and it was a clerical, and it could have happened to anybody. And so it had nothing to do, because it was done, it just wasn't uploaded, so, but we're now getting punished for it, and hopefully, and Scott Franklin's office even said that, you should get this money back, because one taxing authority cannot basically tax another, so. Do you have any other questions about that? Alright, so Ms. Clemens pointed out that, you all have this, which is the updated data. I wanna thank, Ms. Mullins for this. I am a data geek, and I apologize to her because she knows between now and the end of school, I will be calling her constantly, where are we, what's our percentage, how many kids are tested, where are we compared to the state? It is a fascination of mine, and I literally make all my decisions based on, well, not all of them, but a lot of them based on these numbers. We are doing quite well. We finally have the PEC scores in, and, there's, all of our schools are doing a great job. There are some areas at specific schools that need to be looked at, but I'm beyond excited because all three principals, actually all four principals, immediately, as soon as these scores came out, they were working on a plan of how to correct them. So, but in the majority of areas, when you have your state percentage, you have the district percentage, you have Morehaven Elementary School, Westlake, and PECs, the majority of the columns that we are ahead of the district by quite a bit. So,
You mean the state?
the state, I'm sorry, yes ma'am. I will offer these to anyone that wants to see these, but I don't feel like it's something we can put them out there, but I don't wanna put it like out on social media because I don't want anyone to get confused saying, oh, well, because a lot of people that are not in education will not understand this data. But, when the ELA and the math PM3 scores come out, we'll put them out for everybody to see, because that's where our school grade comes from, and our district grade. Did you have, Ms. Clemens, did you have anything specific, or? Okay. If you do, if you go through and you see, an area that you feel is, that Dr. Barfield, are you addressing this? The answer I'm gonna give you is yes, I am addressing it, but, if you see something that I didn't catch, or that Wendy didn't catch, just let me know, okay? And I'll be glad to have those conversations with the principals, so.
I just wanna make a comment.
Yes, ma'am.
Dr. Barfield, I've been working with a teacher at the high school, and I sent this information to her and said, hey, maybe this would be good to show your students. She said, Ms. Drake, that's on the wall in my classroom. So I thought that was really good that she has shared this data with her students, and they know where they're at as compared with other schools in the state. So I thought that was great.
Yes, sir.
That is an issue. When I went back in the classroom in 2017, that was an initiative, and I was teaching second grade. And it does affect, they like it, they wanna see it, they wanna,
Ownership.
yes. And their ability to beginning to understand graphs, charts, and remember, that was an area like way in the back that we were weak. And even when I was teaching high school English in the 90s, and I would say, how can I help? And one of the things I did is I taught graphs and charts and stuff because a little bit of that fell there.
Right.
But anyway, the point is, as early as second grade, and then when I taught pre-K, we still had the charts, so we did apples and stuff like that. But what it is it's becoming normal. If they're starting graphing in pre-K and they're at second, then looking at a graph is what their life is about. And you know, it's nothing I would have thought about, but it is a standard that is, like, all of us adults out there, we're like, okay, that's kind of important, but all the kids coming up, they get it.
And, I was laughing, Wendy, I have to tell the story on you, just because, funny thing.
Just making fun of you.
Yeah, I'm kind of making fun of her, but see, Wendy thought that when the scores started coming out, it's like I'm literally calling like every 5 minutes, where are we, you know, I'm driving her crazy. And so she thought that if she was real quiet in her office, or that she left her office, that I wouldn't find her, and then I discovered, did not know until this, that we have a page button on our phone, and it pages the entire building.
Oh,
So I started going,
You didn't need to
Ms.
know
Mullins,
that.
please come to my office, so I just want to tell you.
Just to give you guys a little insight, when those numbers come in, they change every day until the end of that testing window, but she wants them every day. My mindset is, let's wait till the end when we have the numbers, and even those numbers are not what your school grade is calculated off of, because we know for accountability, it's only students from survey 2 and survey 3, and there are all these other factors, but, God love her, I'll give it to her every time she asks.
Well, let me introduce you to someone. This is Beth Barfield, and it doesn't go that way.
I'm sorry, I'm just a little anal of it, but, okay. The next thing I'm gonna bring up is not really something for me, but there is a bill being passed, and it's talking about the School Board Bill of Rights. And I don't know if you all are familiar with that. It really doesn't pertain to us. I have never, if Crystal, Keon, Larry, Jean, Patty have asked me for information, I've given it. I've allowed you, I say I've allowed you, but you've all asked me what the procedure is to speak to my directors, go talk to them. I've never not said, don't talk to me. But in some districts, the superintendent was charging board members for, public records requests. If you ask for a budget, they charge them. So anyway, I'm just blown away by it, but, you might just want us to read it, go look at the bill. I'm really, like I said, I feel like we have a great system, and you guys know that you can call me, ask me, you know, whatever. You can speak to my directors, and you all have been very good about, if you go speak to them, hey, Dr. Barfield, I'm gonna go speak to a director, or I'm gonna go speak to a principal. I'm fine with that. I mean, but I guess in some counties, it's a big issue, but just for your own, you might wanna go read that, just to make sure if I'm not doing something, that you do tell me that. Okay, I'm going to call for a short, executive session. Can I do that without the attorney being here?
Yes, you can.
Okay. Okay.
I know.
Okay, well, I'm just saying, I'm gonna call, a situation that we need to discuss in executive session. Yesterday, I went and met, well, let me go back. Special facilities, you all know that's a long process, it takes several years to get that going. We had, special facilities, down, by Brown, and we had her go specifically out to West Glades to see if she felt that that area needed a high school, and she agreed it does need a high school. So you all know what that means for me, I'm all in now, so that means I'm going to make sure that
Who said that?
Vi Brown, she's
And her
over,
title, I need to
she
know.
is, I don't know her official title is, but she oversees, special facilities.
Okay,
She was
that's
very-
significant.
She
That-
was
that's-
extremely helpful, if Vi Brown says it, it happens,
She was
so,
very helpful in us getting the money for the elementary
yes.
on day one.
Day one, she is definitely our advocate up there in that department. So, where I'm going with this is that, and I wish Brian was in here because I'd like to see his.
I see parents on the edge of their seats.
I'm so excited about this information, we're ready to be here.
So, it's gonna take a little bit, now this is the part that I want everyone to go calmly when I say this. We are going to try to enter it this year. Which is a lot of work for me, a lot of work for my staff, and I know y'all just, but hey, we won't have to work out the new elementary, the old elementary, getting it pulled down, now we can put all that effort into this. But, with that said, I have met yesterday with Lights Brothers. I went out and had a great meeting with, Noah, Hanley. And, I just wanted them to know that, we had heard, through the grapevine that there may be some movement. And I wanted to go out, not to ask for any money or anything in particular, but I just wanted him to let him know that we would like to be a partner. And that if there's something that we could do, that we would love to be a part of creating. Because if they are gonna build a community or whatever they're gonna do, we would like to, and I said to him, the number one thing that people look at is they look at what the school system is like. And so, let's work together, let's not be two separate entities, let's work together. And he agreed, it was a great conversation. I'm gonna give you the packet that I presented to them. I did, at the end of the meeting, discuss with him that there would be the possibility for naming rights. And, I feel that I think that we need to look at that and I think Mr. Drake actually is the one who went, Beth, what about? We have a lot of buildings in Glades County that we could put a naming right on, and if a company, if Seminole Tribal Florida, if US Sugar, if Wedgeworth, if Lights Brothers, if Alico, if Bexley Brothers, if whoever wants to donate money, a significant amount to this project, we would be glad to do any type of a naming right, but it's a process. And this is not gonna happen overnight, so I don't want everyone to think that in a year from now, there's gonna be a high school, I'm trying.
How long?
Yeah, I know, right? But, it was a great meeting, and I want you all to know that I'm going to be focusing on getting this completed, at least the first shovel in the ground, at least in the next 3 years. So, that's where I am with that.
Thank you, that is great news, thank you. I'm sorry I'm not all to do that, but I'm truly grateful for this news. Dr. Walker. I have a quick
Yes,
question.
ma'am.
So on the one bill that we have to repay, I thought we had to have that repaid before we
Yeah.
submit it.
So in the rural renaissance bill, that's the big catch right there, Kim, is that in the rural, excuse me, in the rural renaissance bill, there is a provision that we wouldn't have to pay it back. But if, as it stands right now, we do not have to wait to have it paid back before we enter into the special facilities process again. I know when I went home and I said to my husband, I'm so excited, we're gonna, go back into special facilities, trying to go up, and he goes, oh my God, you're not going to do that again. And I said, I am, because it's needed, and I know what Larry was saying about, the housing,
And
the
that's
boom
before
is
you,
over there in Port LaBelle, and we're probably gonna need to build a K-5 in the next probably 10 years, if that long. But right now, we need a high school, and so and I will be honest with you, from understanding, and Larry could probably give us some history on this. Excuse me. When the school was originally built, they were told it was gonna be a K-12. Right, Larry?
That was,
no,
they weren't guaranteed, but it was
Right.
part of the discussion.
It was-
yeah,
it
it
was in
was, yeah,
discussion.
it wasn't, and it wasn't said that way. It was said that there would be a K-8 and then there's room here for us to eventually add a high school. It was never said it was a K-12, but that could have been surmised.
But when the property was acquired, they made sure that there was enough property acquired
Exactly,
to accommodate a high school.
right.
Including the athletic fields and everything.
Well, I will tell you that, how much is it?
That's
Can you please? I will tell you that I go to almost every community meeting. I am very active in the community, or the Muse Association. And, I talk to them a lot, and I will tell you that it is something they're very excited about. They are, they want it, they know that if a student is living out in Muse, in that area, and you have to think, we're not talking about right there around the school, our community goes all the way to the Lee County line,
Charlotte,
Charlotte County line even. But I think that if their students want to have not a normal high school, but a active high school time, then if they want to play basketball or football or baseball, then they have to drive all the way in to Moorhaven. And, so it's just not feasible for those families. So I'm really excited that, that we are gonna be going this route, and I'm excited that we get to, as a board, I think we handled our special facilities, group, I think we handled that well, and I wanna see us build a high school. So we're looking probably at, obtaining between $90 million and $130 million. So with that, I am actually gonna introduce somebody to you all, and he's gonna kill me probably. This is a young man, this is someone that, as a superintendent, that I absolutely have looked up to my career. We became friends when I became a superintendent, and he was superintendent in Martin County. Martin, right? Okay. And, he has changed the educational system in Martin County, and I asked him for a lot of advice, and so he was driving through and he texted me and I said, stop. So, this is Dr. John Millay, everyone.
Nice to meet you all. He said a meeting was going on, I said I did this for 17 years, so I was like, I don't mind to sit outside. Good luck on everything, nice.
Did you have an attendance like this at your board meeting?
Sometimes it was nice, it's good, it's okay. Sometimes it's good.
He is, Dr. Millay is very innovative and, has done some things that other superintendents wouldn't do because of fear, and he didn't worry, he just, I know, he's an amazing man, so I'm glad he's calling me a friend and a colleague. So, okay, the next thing I want to talk about, so here we'll have a high school. As far as that goes, I will update you, so I will start a new email thread basically, and anytime anything happens, I will let you know. I don't think we're ready to, start presenting it to the public, that we're definitely getting in high school, but I think that anytime the state comes down, which will be here shortly, because, they'll have to come out. When the elementary school was built, they came and they actually walked through the building. Well, there's no building to walk through, so they'll do a bunch of studies about, how far it is from here to there, and so, but I know the question was asked because it was, I guess the belief was, well, you can't have a new high school until this one is built, and that is not true. We have clarified that. So, okay, and with that, I know that we have talked, about possibly selling some property, to increase our fund balance. And I pulled all of the land, the property appraisers, land, reports, and we have several pieces. What I'm gonna do is get an estimate of what we possibly could get for each of these properties. I know there's a property appraiser's value, but then there's like the real value, the real estate value. I will tell you that we have had, or will be receiving a offer on the B&B parking lot. Even though it's not for sale, someone is going to be making us a cash offer. So I will, as soon as that comes through, I will let you know. But it was someone that actually came to the sale and said, gosh, I sure would like a piece of property, and, the conversation took place that, well, everything's got a price. So, and the B&B parking lot is something we purchased 2 years ago, and if we can make some money on it, it's, it's where we are in our fund balance. So, I just wanted to bring that to your attention. We have the ball fields. We have the property that's in front of Sharon Harris's old house. We have the property
Wait, slow down. Where?
in front of Sharon Harris's house. It was a parking lot. It is a parking lot.
Over by the old elementary.
Yes, ma'am.
The parking lot,
That's just on the other side of the fence?
okay,
Okay, we're like,
So it's like
we're like
two
the
skinny
overflow.
lots. Correct,
near where you used to live.
correct.
Okay.
So we have that property. We have the Washington Park property, but, we discovered this past week that they are building a pavilion on that property. And so we didn't know about it, and it was, the county.
They just assume that it's theirs.
So, well, Mr. Carlisle sent an email to Dan. Is he in here? No. Oh, there he is. Why'd you move?
Yeah, back again.
And then after and said, I apologize, but and so he asked me, so I did talk to him on the phone, and I said, well, we may be considering selling that. And he says, well, do you want me to stop building the pavilion? I said, no, because we get more money for the property than the pavilion. I don't know that that's even something we wanna do, but it's,
Isn't that in our lease that they have to come to us before they do any improvements to the property? I could have sworn I read that.
it's in there.
That would be at any lease.
Yeah.
Kind of like fence.
So we have all these properties that we've leased out, that we have absolutely no control over, we're not using. My comment about selling a property, I'm all for it, but I believe maybe Mr. McKinley, somebody mentioned that the date of your purchase of the property had, if you bought it before a certain date, it could go to general fund. If you bought it after a certain date, it had to go back to the spend.
To the fund that you, correct, that is correct, but that property was purchased back in the '70s or whatever, and so we could put it back in
Okay.
general.
Can you get that information for us so that we know? And then we also, I don't know if you were finished, but don't we also have the piece by the baseball?
So we also have highway frontage, the B&B parking lot, and we also have highway frontage at the piece between the Dole Connor building and the B&B parking lot. That is
Just after, between the
ball fields and the highway,
But it does overlap, because I did talk to somebody at the county.
but we would
Part
have
of
to.
our field is in that.
Correct, so it would be a rezoning, it would be a rezoning change, which is, shouldn't be that difficult to do. But the reason I'm bringing this up, and I feel like I'm bringing this up to you not as a complete presentation, but it's because I want you to know that I am, making some calls, I'm asking some questions, and I know how small Glades County is, so I may send a call and say, Dr. Barfield's trying to sell off the school district, and I am trying to make money for our school district, so, it's a lot of money, and I got the contract, so if anyone wants to see the contracts that I pulled the RCMA and the, Killing contract first. The chairman at the time was Kathy Browning, and she signed it, so I don't know what Kathy Browning was thinking, but, it just doesn't, it very specifically says though, so I'm thankful for this, is that we can, if we deem necessary, we can sell the property.
Did you happen to mention to Mr. Carlisle that the county might want to buy it?
I did, and he said he would have to speak with his board members first to see if there was even any interest.
Well, I would have held off on the pavilion until that was done.
Well, if they build the pavilion, and I will tell you,
If they want to build a pavilion.
yeah, because they feel in the community deserves to have a beautiful, and I think that's amazing, but it's our property, and if we sell the property, we're gonna charge for that pavilion that we didn't build.
And they're putting county taxpayer money into something that the county could lose.
Right.
So,
I wouldn't take that approach, Beth. I wouldn't.
But here's the
I
thing,
would
it's
say,
our,
stop,
well,
stop building the building. We need to, we got business to take care of, stop. That's my advice. Because like, okay, we're school board members, but we're also public citizens who pay taxes.
I pay county tax.
Yeah, so like, I want what's prudent, and what's prudent can be from the county commissioners and the school board. I mean, we can come to an agreement.
so if you want me to call him and tell him to stop the pavilion, the building, I can do that.
I
Well,
don't know, I think that's extreme.
I think extreme is building something on property you don't own. I think that is super extreme. And
It wouldn't be the first time they've built there without.
Yeah, and it's not for us to tell them to stop.
I mean, they have a
But
community,
our
well, I think you
contract
should
says
tell
they
them,
have
we're
to
getting
stop
ready to sell the
building.
property. Why are you building on property we're getting ready to sell?
Isn't that in the contract that before they make any, updates or build anything, they're supposed to get our approval? That's in our contract, correct?
yes.
So they missed a step, they forgot that, they,
Which they have done more than once.
It says within 60 days of execution hereof, by landlord tenant shall submit to landlord for approval a detailed written plan showing all renovations planned by the tenant to be performed. And what's funny, it did say, this is the crazy thing, and I just caught this. It did say a detailed written plan, and then my mom wrote for approval and she signed her initials. So yes, they were supposed to.
So it's not that we're being drastic, we're just saying, whoa,
Well, we
you know
had our own,
that we wanna sell
we
this,
had our
and if
own
you're taking a
plans.
big risk by investing taxpayer money into building something that could not belong to you in a year? I mean, they need to be aware that that is potential, I bet their board is not
I
been
bet at least one
apprised of that. I bet they don't realize that. I would guess.
So I will
Because that
call,
would be,
what I'll do is I will call him and then do you want me to call the individual board members?
that's just wrong.
Okay.
I call the county manager.
Okay, so I just wanted to give you all a heads up on that, and, the appropriation, so, I spoke with our lobbyist, I speak with her about every couple days, and, right now, they're really keeping the monies tight to their chest and kind of what they're gonna do, everybody's kind of really waiting to see what this rural renaissance bill.
You said her lobbyist was.
Well, our lobbyist is Patrick Bell, his wife is Elizabeth, and she works, they work very closely together. So she was with me when I went and walked, the Senate and the House. I am going to probably be going to Tallahassee, probably one more time in the next couple of weeks. And I will also be requesting another meeting with Tuck and with Brawl, just to discuss, kind of the need, and I wanna bring up the fact that when we turn the air conditioners on, that, you know, even though I understand that it did scare, you know, some of the kids or, you know, or the adults, and I hate that, but that was Lee County, they had call after call, same thing, they turned those switches, and those things had not been turned on in a long time, and the dirt or the dust kind of got everything fired up, but for me, us having a new HVAC system at Westlake is a priority, because as you remember, and Ron's not in here, but the air conditioner, the vents, all that has to be working, and it's just not. So we've got rooms that are hot, we've got, you know, and we're doing the best we can, but we're dealing with a 20-year-old school, and we need to update it, and it's $5 million. So I have a feeling, and I don't know, nobody said anything to me, I have a feeling that we may get half of what we're asking for, and if we do, then we'll just go from there. We'll have to see we'll have to prioritize, either roof or HVAC or, you know, what I don't wanna do is what we did at the elementary school. I don't want to, or what has been done at the elementary school. We didn't do it, but I don't wanna spot correct, because then you have areas that have, you know, good roof and others that don't. I mean,
Which is already
eventually,
been done.
yeah.
Yeah, you're saying 5 million, I had written down 6.1 million was
Yeah,
our
6
request.
It is. I'm just saying 5, rounding it,
Okay.
so, yeah. So other than that, I really don't have an update. I don't know that we will have an update until session is completely over and we see who ends up in the budget. But our lobbyists felt positive that we would get some, if not all. Okay? If you wanna see these contracts, I think Ms. Crowell's got one, here's the one.
This is the one with Redlands
Okay,
Christian Migrant. So is this the one with the county?
Oh, this is
Yeah.
okay, the only other thing I had to discuss was the IRS situation and Senator Franklin's office, and I will update you as soon as I hear that. Crystal, the collaboratory, I look forward to working with you on that. Kim, I love the, No Tech Tuesday is what they did in Lee County, and, Governor, Superintendent Carlin and I are dear friends, and she has really been keeping me abreast on that. They have a lot of positive reactions from that, and the schools loved it. And so it's something that will definitely be, I'll follow through and make sure we get something going. So thank you for bringing that up. And then just the last thing that I have, and then we are finished, is the collegiate program. I said this last night, I think there was some numbers misquoted around somewhere in a meeting somewhere. Someone said that Monique Moss was, making over $100,000. And that is not true. Her salary is $64,000. And Monique Moss's salary is not what's caused us to have issues with the collegiate funding. I just want that said because, you know, we're a small community and people talk. And I feel it's important that people understand that when you start adding, every $100,000 counts. Every dollar counts, but we're spending about $160,000 a year, oh no, probably about $200 a year in our collegiate program. That if you watch our fund balance and you track that data from 2020 until now, our fund balance has gone like this. Well, since then, we've added those programs, and those are programs that we all have committed to. So yes, our fund balance is going down and down and down, but our achievement is going up and up and up. And if that kid does not prove to you that we need to keep investing in our kid, I don't know what else will. Because when he presented, he said to you, I would not have gone to college. We provided an opportunity for our students that normally would not have gone to college, an opportunity. At what cost? A big cost. So we either have to find a way to bring in more revenue, A, or B, cut revenue or cut expenses somewhere else. And as you know, we've done that. We were overstaffed, and I talked about this last night. We cut $1.5 million this past April. We cut positions, but we were overstaffed. When after COVID happened, I did not get rid of people. I did not get rid of teachers. I did not get rid of staff members because I wanted our kids to make sure that we had small classes. But, you know, everywhere across the state, I know you can even attest to this, every district's having these conversations. There's no district that's just got cash and can do whatever. But I will tell you this, and I'm gonna end it on this. I am going to request that the board have some homework tonight. Blaze, which is our not CFO for the state, I cannot think of his title, it's Blaze Acostas, I believe is his name, I'm not sure, but I'm gonna send you. Yes, I can't think of his name, but I'm gonna send you a Doge report that they did. And I want you to look through, and they haven't done a school district per se, but they've done counties, and it infuriated me, because I am a small rural superintendent having to beg for my kids to have an opportunity to take classes at the collegiate program that is life-changing, that is generational changing for kids that cannot afford it. And they are spending money on things that are crazy. When you read it, it is going to make you so mad. And I just wanna ask you to read that, and it's this thick. I mean, it's that thick. But when I see what other counties are spending money on, and then we're begging to give a child an opportunity, it makes my blood boil. So, we're doing the best we can, and I appreciate you all, I appreciate your support and for having my back, and, you know, I appreciate the staff that's here, you guys are rock stars, even Mr. Thomas. Okay. Yeah.
Let it begin.
Listen, they've all been really good, and they're working themselves, and I know our teachers are, and our staff at our school sites are doing a great job. And our principals, for the first time in my 6 years, I can say, oh my God, what a great group of administrators we've got in our schools, so, as a collective as a whole. So I'm very, very blessed, so that's all I have.
Anything else, board members? Meeting adjourned. Okay.